said it to you before we came on tonight. I take my piss on AEW quite a bit just because of where my biases lie. Holy fuck, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa killed each other.
They were so impressive. So many spots. Those thumbtack moments were so uncomfortably incredible.
And do you know the funny thing is, right? And because the thumbtack thing is always going to be a little bit, especially because Britt Baker has like all her, not that gear is really going to protect you anyway, but all her gear is like completely open backed. So like there's nothing.
So her whole back was just filled.
But I will say,
completely filled with thumbtacks, and there's no way to take it safe or do it.
No,
you just gotta try and land as even as possible, so you disperse your weight so it doesn't push into any.
You just kind of have to decide that you're gonna hurt for a while with that, and I mean,
as they come out, it's a lot better, but
yeah.
Oof.
Well, she took the fall off the top turnbuckle after the thing, but you know what got me though?
And then they did the lockjaw as well, her submission there,
and then they rolled her into the thumbtacks again. But you know what?
Exactly.
Before the thumbtacks even came out, and I don't see you might have heard something different. I haven't heard your guys' review because I haven't caught up on all the Joe Show stuff. Something I don't hear a lot of people talking about in that match was before the thumbtack spot. Was when they had the ladder that was at the awkward angle, and they were on the top turnbuckle, and she did that really awkward angle Death Valley driver. I'm moving my hands around as if anybody can see me, but
I do that all the time. I still talk with my hands.
That was
I'm not on camera.
Like that. Okay, the thumbtack thing is obviously horrendous, and in real life, that's murder. That's attempted murder. But like from a wrestling perspective, I think we are a little desensitized to it, which is bad. And then you get into a whole conversation about what Mick Foley did to the business and all that kind of thing. But like because we're desensitized to that, I looked at the other spots more, and just because of like I think they fell at a weird angle, and I think there was a stumble in there, which is fine. It happens. But, like, they were at a weird angle, and also, ultimately, the hard steel item that they were falling on was also at an awkward angle.
It really was, because it was set up on the bottom rope, and it's already teetering. Now she's facing their newly positioned hard cam with her ass, Britt is, and then Thunder Rosa's inside the ring still. She goes and picks up Britt over her shoulders, and then does, like, a sideways roll. So she goes up and over. Yeah,
because she kind of rolled over and came off the other side of the ladder, too.
Yeah, kind of like how Cole does it when he goes up and over. Or not Cole, Velveteen. You know how he does his driver, the Dream Valley driver?
We don't need to talk about Velveteen Dream.
Well, Textatine Dream goes ahead and does that little leap with it. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah, and
but
also...
In the interim, the thumbtacks aren't even out yet, and Britt Baker is pouring blood all over her entire face. Thunder Rosa, the part of her face that isn't painted is now painted crimson. Like it's just there's a pile of chairs in the ring, and the chair shots that they're attacking with each other with are ridiculously stiff.
Yep.
The chairs are bending and breaking, and they are hammer fisting each other like legit shots. These women brutalized each other. Rebel, whatever you want to call her.
I think she's as sort of a sidekick character. I liked her from the beginning. I still think,
but I really like her.
Yeah, even though a lot of people speak highly of her, I still think her role as the sidekick is underappreciated.
It is underappreciated
because her being such a hyper happy, even though my boss treats me like crap, I'm still going to be. She is Jey Uso to Roman Reigns, and
Hartwell,
like her beaten down. Now, Indy Hartwell's different because they at least help each other out and whatnot. Her sort of beaten down
because Rebel's not getting anything out of it. Like she runs in with
and she's not wrestling really. Like she's had a few matches.
She runs in with the crutch that she's got. She tries to get involved, and then Thunder Rosa just waffles her, and it's like holy shit. That
you have to imagine if Jade Cargill came down for some reason, Britt would just throw Rebel at her.
Oh, exactly, and that's what's great. So then she goes ahead and Thunder Rosa drop kicks her through the table. Now Rebel's through the table, and then Britt gets power bombed onto the thumbtacks. And you get a 2 count, and I was like, oh, why? I don't feel like any of these moments were, I don't want to say, like, overblown or overstated. Like I believe the kickouts. I believe the false finishes. I got really sucked up into this match. And this is one of the rare women's matches that they've had. And this is also the rare instance that they've had where the hardcore element adds to the match because they've had such a brutal rivalry so far that this was a great way to conclude their rivalry. I thought this was top-notch, beautiful ending. The submission on the thumbtacks was especially my favorite because every time they roll, they're embedding more of these tacks into their body. Poor freaking Britt's ass is just shining with metal at the end. It's ungodly.
I will say there is a lot in AEW, and people are going to say this is sacrilege, where the story might be lacking or the match itself might be lacking, so you get a whole bunch of blood just so that there's a shock value to sort of even that out. There was that much blood in this match, and it didn't feel like that. So big hats
really
off to them. There's two things that I'm gonna say concerning, and one's for AEW and one's for WWE. Is AEW is going to think, okay, we just did this big bombastic thing. That's the Band-Aid. Now everybody will think we have a division, and then they go back to having a 2-minute middle of the card thing next week.
Not showing Sheeta or not showing EO or not, that's the thing. I mean, NXT is even having problems with their women's division right now because I don't really feel like they're showcasing all of them in the right light.
I do think on NXT they've given Io Shirai finally a bit of stand on her own 2 feet. Because she didn't wait for Gonzalez to come to her. She called Gonzalez out last week, and she walked.
Was a good touch.
And I know you haven't seen NXT this week, but Dakota Kai took on. I keep wanting to say Tony Stark, which is really bad. Zoe Stark, who they are strapping an absolute rocket to. But
they are pushing her really hard.
Io Shirai came out after the match, looked right at Dakota Kai, looked right through Dakota Kai, and basically chucked a contract at Gonzalez. And if you're the champion chucking a contract at the challenger, you've been given some platform to do that. And I think, because we said before, they treated Shirai a lot like they treat Sheeta in AEW, is like, she's awesome, everybody just knows she's awesome, let's work on finding her some challengers. And I think the way they've done it with Shirai, for her to look down the pike and see the next challenge she's got on the horizon and meet it face on, I think it meets some of the problems that they've had with her recently.
Absolutely.
But the one thing I will say
before we move on to that, I just want to know too, what did you think of the ending of the Lights Out match? Because we didn't touch on that, and I'm just curious. I didn't get to pick your brain because we get that fire driver from Rosa onto Britt through the table, and I thought that was as sloppy as it was looking. That's what made it look like even more.
I was going to say that it's one of the situations where it looking sloppy makes it look better.
Yeah, and I think it was like almost an intentional, like the way she was carrying her. I think it was sloppy, and here's my reason why. If you look at how she landed Britt, instead of landing on the left, like when she usually holds her, she goes direct landing. She kind of cradled her so the impact wouldn't be where all the thumbtacks were in Britt's back.
Which is awesome, and it's
so
sort of.
I really think that was her mindful intention, because Britt's pretty much like upper left quadrant of her back in the middle is covered in thumbtacks.
Yeah.
And she lands with her on her right side.
But you know what? I think
and
that
then she rolls her onto that side to get the pinfall. So I think she was really trying to avoid hitting any more of the thumbtacks.
And you know what? Behind the scenes, you're probably right. Behind the scenes, you're probably like trying to get the previously thumbtacked portion of her body like off the thing, but also landing that move a little more high and tight made the move look better anyway. It's the difference between a power bomb and a jackknife.
Exactly.
You go high and tight on
emphasis.
Yeah, you go high and tight on the shoulders and neck rather than going on the back. So while there were real life protective reasons to do it, it actually made the move look worse. Or worse/better, and I do like the scramble because there was an element in that match at that point of like, okay, if this doesn't work, what the fuck do I have to do? So she was literally digging or scrambling through the rubble of the table to get the pin, and I thought that dramatically that was an excellent point as well.
She's pushing away everything that's broken and trying to roll her right into that spot, and then she just instantly starts to well up with tears, so overcome with emotion, the blood, the makeup. Britt looks like hell. They got a new shirt for her, so
you know what I would have been okay with.
More on this.
I would have been okay with, and this is like early days NXT takeover with the Four Horsewomen specifically, when they would absolutely kick the shit out of each other, but when the match was over, they could have that like break kayfabe moment and like enjoy what they just did. I would have been okay with them doing that in AEW, but I don't think they've actually done something like that just yet.
I don't think so.
Anyways, so my first concern, obviously, is that they're just going to say, okay, we did it, it's done, dust the hands, move on with things as normal. The other thing, and I hate to say this about WWE, because normally the NXT counter programs everything is an argument that's a little bit exaggerated, but I do think WWE got pretty comfortable with the, well, you know, we might suck at a couple of things, but at least we've got a women's division. Like, I think they were sitting pretty comfy in that regard.
They got too complacent with a lot of it. And now you know that Vince clearly views AEW as competition. He may not have always seemed to view them as such, and he was doing some things to be petty, but now, the girls got a standing ovation from all of the talent in the back after the match.
I just think he's going to look at that and try to get that particular part of the spotlight back.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry,
have the women doing something
crazy. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm sorry. There's a lot of women in NXT specifically. I'm looking at somebody like my girl Shotzi Blackheart, who specifically said she wanted to bring hardcore wrestling to the women's division. But I'm sorry, on the main roster, who are you going to do that with? You're going to have Sasha Banks and Nia Jax. Oh Christ!
You're going to have a hardcore match with Lana or Naomi.
No, it's going to be a
Spaz, you're going to have a hardcore match with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke.
I will do lots of hardcore things with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and none of them are wrestling.
I'd say BDSM, but not, a pinfall or
a
submission.
BDSM.
Well, some submissions.
Beat that ass. I don't know.
Who am I kidding? I would only last to a 3 count anyways. But
oh my God. No, I was going to say Nia Jax and Sasha Banks in a who can end the other's career first match.